Standing true to its vision and touching the new heights of innovation, Stylam has introduced a unique PU plus lacquer line to manufacture robust and appealing high-gloss and super matte laminates with better MAR and fingerprint resistance in contrast to other manufacturers. This one-of-a-kind hot coating machine is made with patented technology by Ply Reporter and Barbarian, two well-renowned names in the industrial innovation. With this prominent German technology, tough and beautiful decorative laminates are not a fiction anymore. This 60 meters lacquer line uses Ply Reporter's hot coating adhesive imported from Germany and special roller coating technology to apply the most demanded MR plus high gloss and super matte finishing on the laminates with high precision. This treatment improves the overall quality, lifetime and versatility of the laminates, reasserting Stylam's promise of delivering newer, superior and high-class living standards for our valuable customers. The final products from this division undergo rigorous testing to make sure they exceed all quality standards, withstand test of time, and substantially reduce the effort and time required for care and maintenance by the end consumer. Having a keen focus on inventing designs and products of the highest standard, our team of architects and interior designers work tirelessly toward a common goal to give our customers the freedom to style their spaces in every possible fashion.
A very very warm and happy welcome to this special webinar by Surfaces Reporter on high-end residential projects, new needs, market and opportunities. The intention of this webinar is to bring the best of information together for the design fraternity, as well as the owners of high-end residential houses who are desirous of redoing their homes or buying larger or better one as led by COVID to look at homes in a new light. A common question that we received from people is around safety. How safe it can be in the times of COVID to do redesigning or renovating homes. What are the suggestions from the designers and architects for creating a better livable space? Are ready to live in or ready to move homes possible with online supervision and minimum physical contact? Is a contactless interior designing possible? What are the products and materials to be considered for using or replacing for making homes more hygienic, safe, maintenance-free, and COVID-ready? So we have an illustrious set of experts today with us, and along with them, we have 3 to 4 very special guests I had invited specially to join us in this session, and take us to some kind of perspectives that is from the user side. So I welcome all of you and all the attendees. We are already 300 plus at the moment, and I would like Madhu to give brief introductions of each of the speakers.
Thank you, Vertica. So welcoming all the panelists once again, as well as all the attendees who have joined us this morning and all the people who are watching us live on Facebook as well. I will quickly start with introductions so that we can, start the session. Shovana ji will be joining in some time, so we will introduce her a little later as soon as she joins. I'll start with Bobby. So Bobby Mukherji is credited for designing exquisite properties like the Le Méridien, Delhi and Ambi Valley. Architect Bobby Mukherji is one of the most renowned names in the architecture and design fraternity in India, known for his distinguished designing style. His firm Bobby Mukherji and Associates is currently working in multiple countries including Indonesia, China, Bhutan, Caribbean Islands, the UK. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you having me here.
Thank you having me here, Madhurima.
Most welcome. Next, may I welcome Nisha Jamvwal. Nisha juggles many roles. She is an award-winning designer, having her own design firm and a corporate luxury brand called Zoya. She is a luxury brand consultant, writer, columnist, influencer, and motivational speaker. After initially making her mark in interior architecture, she forayed into fashion, launched her first women wear line. Her story was even featured in one of the 15 short stories compiled by Jeffrey Archer. Welcome, Nisha.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with such a lovely panel. And welcome to all.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, may I welcome architect Hiren Patel. Practicing since 1989, architect Hiren Patel is the principal of Hiren Patel Architects, Ahemdabad. A CEPT University graduate, Hiren Patel received his initial success by designing high-rises in Ahemdabad and thereafter hasn't looked back. Today, his portfolio covers almost everything from individual residences to large commercial megaliths with particular expertise in high-end residences. Welcome, architect Hiren Patel. Next, may I welcome Pallavi Dean. She is the founder and creative director of Roar, Dubai. Pallavi was born in India, raised in Dubai, and spent years working in London. An architecture graduate of the American University of Sharjah with a master's degree in interior design theory from Savannah College of Art and Design. She is also a LEED accredited professional. Her designs reflect these eclectic influences. Her portfolio includes a string of high-profile projects in the Middle East, North and East Africa, and the UK across hospitality, commercial, and residential sector. Good morning, Pallavi.
Morning. So nice to be with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, may I welcome Mr. Tushar Aggarwal. Tushar is the director of Paramount Wires and Cables Limited. It's one of India's leading wire and cable manufacturing company with over 6 decades of operations in manufacturing of cables for various sectors like power, telecom, railways, IT and communication, construction, defense and space research sectors, among others. It has a long list of recognitions and awards received for quality and service. Good morning, Tushar. Welcoming you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to give the viewpoints from the users end. Looking forward to this interaction today.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I'm welcoming Mr. Mr Barthwal. He is Executive Director and Head Academy at ONGC. He has more than 35 years of experience at ONGC. His leadership skills are in the areas of negotiation, communication, team building, HR policies, and administration. He has lived in various places and currently resides in the scenic city of Dehradun, this beautiful way. Welcoming Manojji. And finally, I am welcoming Vertica Dvivedi. She will be moderating the panel. Vertica is an award-winning entrepreneur. She is the director of Dixie Marcom India Private Limited, editor-in-chief of Surfaces Reporter magazine, and founder of Wade Asia. She has done management study from IIM Calcutta and is passionately working in the fields of design, architecture, journalism, water awareness, and helping women-led businesses to rise. Over to you, Vertica, now to start the session.
Thank you, Madhu. Thank you, Madhu, for the introductions. So, this introductions will not be complete if I don't introduce a partner who has joined us today. So, in the times of COVID, people have become really sensitive to surfaces, especially on the aspects of maintenance, cleaning, and hygiene. It is a great relief for many to know there is a surface material which can set you free from cleaning every now and then. That's TouchMe anti-fingerprint laminate by Stylam, the power partner with Surfaces Reporter for today's webinar. Here is a video of the unit where TouchMe is made. Just have a look. I'm sharing the screen.
Shovana, how are you?
Very well indeed. And how are you? Well, lovely to see everyone, and namaskar to all the participants.
Good morning.
Thank you, Shovana. Warm hello, and lovely to see you after all these years.
Lovely seeing all of you, all of you.
So I'm sharing this one once more.
Standing true to its vision and touching the new heights of innovation, Stylam has introduced a unique PU plus lacquer line to manufacture robust and appealing high-gloss and super matte laminates with better MAR and fingerprint resistance in contrast to other manufacturers. This one-of-a-kind hot coating machine is made with patented technology by Ply Reporter and Barbarian, two well-renowned names in the industrial innovation. With this prominent German technology, tough and beautiful decorative laminates are not a fiction anymore. This 60 meters lacquer line uses Ply Reporter's hot coating adhesive imported from Germany and special roller coating technology to apply the most demanded MR plus high gloss and super matte finishing on the laminates with high precision. This treatment improves the overall quality, lifetime and versatility of the laminates, reasserting Stylam's promise of delivering newer, superior and high-class living standards for our valuable customers. The final products from this division undergo rigorous testing to make sure they exceed all quality standards, withstand test of time, and substantially reduce the effort and time required for care and maintenance by the end consumer. Having a keen focus on inventing designs and products of the highest standard, our team of architects and interior designers work tirelessly toward a common goal to give our customers the freedom to style their spaces in every possible fashion.
Thank you, everyone, and welcoming Shovana ji. Hi.
Hi, sorry for being a little late, but you know, I just had to finish my earlier
joining at this time, and it's absolutely fine. So welcoming you, and we have left, your introductions to be told when you join in. So let me give the introductions of Shovana ji before I start this one. So Shovana ji actually doesn't need any introduction. She's the Padmashri Guru, Dr. Shovana Narayan, and she is a sheer poetry and sublime joy transcending boundaries. She's an outstanding dancer, a consummate artist and choreographer. She's not only India's most celebrated Kathak guru and maestro of the present age, but she has also become a living legend who has blazed a trail in Kathak. She will be, she's joined us a little late, but then I welcome her again. And starting with the young and enterprising entrepreneur out here, Tushar Aggarwal. My first question to you, Tushar, is tell us and share a little bit about how your life has changed pre and post COVID.
Hi. So pre-COVID, life is pretty normal as it is for everyone. Monday to Saturday, working, and weekends meeting with friends or family, or taking out time to do other activities, going out to restaurants and movies and everything. So I think pretty normal. But post-COVID, life has changed for the good and bad. Basically, the bad part is that no activities outside as such. So not being able to do things which I like. For example, watching movies and everything in cinema halls. And the good part is that I'm eating healthy, getting time to exercise more, and basically spending quality time with family.
Yeah, Tushar, what I know about is that your unused gym, is now getting used. Is that true?
Yeah, it's getting much more used as compared to earlier.
And you have set some goals also, isn't it?
I couldn't hear you. Sorry, can you repeat?
And you have set some goals for yourself, some health goals?
Yeah, those personal goals, yeah, I've set. So
yes.
I'm on my way there. So hopefully I will achieve them.
Definitely you will. So, lockdown has at least given you the opportunity to look at health in a new light and home in a new way, new fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any particular area in your home you feel like that you should extend, or you should renovate, or you should add on? Is there any area?
For me, the most important aspect for me is that I don't have an office at home. And since the culture of work from home will be actually increase now. So I think a personal workspace at home is very important for everyone right now, so that people can work efficiently and without any disturbances or stoppages at home.
Yeah, of course.
And number two, for me, see, I already have a gym, but a lot of people my age would not like to go to a public gymnasium, at least for some time, and they would like a gym at their house, so that they can do whatever they want to do with exercises and everything with maintaining proper hygiene and everything.
Right.
And third, I love to watch movies, and I can't go to theaters right now. So maybe a mini theater or a area where you can watch movies and everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what I know about you, Tushar, is that games are also part of your life, and you would like to bring games and theater and movies, within your home,
Yes.
safe zone of your home. So
Yes.
wonderful. Is there any concern, Tushar? Is there any concern you have, because you are with a set of extremely good architects and designers who are designing the best of India, the best of India. So is there any concern you'd like to share? Is anything stopping you from doing what you want to do?
So basically, my biggest concern right now is as I have grandparents at home and everything. So I just wanted to know that if we make these renovations or changes in the house, how will the movement of people be, and what all steps will people take in order to maintain the hygiene and basically distancing and everything which is required for COVID?
Okay. So wonderful, wonderful, Tushar. We are going to discuss on this particular, concern that you have at length in the time to come. Okay.
Yes.
So I will directly now go to architect Bobby Mukherji. Okay. So I would like to know how has the need inside the homes changed after COVID?
Well, everyone's learning right now, and the biggest difficulties people are facing is for the people who work from home. It's not the best environment to be working at. And luckily, I have an office space, a small, like a space in the office at my home that allows me to work. But most people do not have that, and I can see them struggling, trying to make space for their desktops, and with Zoom conferences, becoming, the most normal thing to do now. They're struggling with internet connections, high-speed connections. Their background is all messed up. There are people, kids screaming around. So I think more and more people who have the luxury of space will definitely create that workspace in their homes. And if it's a small apartment, or even going down to a small studio or even a chawl, people will require that. So there's going to be a huge change in the way people plan their homes from now on, if this is going to be a permanent thing or for a long time to come. People will make space for different kinds of furniture. Either it's permanent or it packs away, and hidden somewhere. But even the lighting is not right in most spaces. So that's going to be another thing that's going to be looked into.
Okay. So what architect Bobby Mukherji has said is about a home office, an office at home, a good environment around that little office at home. So I would like to hear on the same from Pallavi and Nisha, Hiren, if you'd like to add something on that about the new needs of the home.
Yeah, I think
both Tushar and Bobby have touched on this. I think the key word here is agility, right? Your home has to work so much harder now. I've got 2 young boys, you know, the first half of the day, I'm a teacher, and then I could cram in an exercise session, and then I go on to my Zoom calls and meetings. So I think we almost have to think of this as an agile space that's multifunctional, that's adaptable, that can, you know, cater to different needs. And I think the key takeaway from me has been, you know, our home is very modern. It's very open plan, right? All the spaces kind of flow into each other. The acoustics are a nightmare, which I'd never noticed before. You know, I can hear my kids, my dogs, everyone on top of each other. So for me, it's been like, you know what, maybe I'm going to go back to conventional closed off spaces and closed living, and maybe that's kind of going to be, which is very Indian as well, you know, you always had a closed off kitchen, but ours is open. So, you know, there's going to be those little tweaks and changes in my own home and my own space.
Wonderful. So what Pallavi has added is like, you know, a home which is adaptable, multifunctional, and she has stressed on the fact that acoustics is something that we have probably not ever given that much of attention. Like architect Bobby Mukherji has talked about lighting. So lighting, acoustics, and all that things which we had very much, you know, thoughtful. We are thoughtful in other sort of projects, and not that much at home needs to be paid attention. So these are the new needs coming up. I would like to hear on the same note from Hiren Patel.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, I differ in terms of thinking. I mean, work from home is a new concept for India, where in USA, especially in IT, it was there since almost a decade. And it is wonderful. It's about building a trust within the company and trust with your team and people. So that's a wonderful concept. If I just compare any of people, we all, the kind of space I had available at my office is a one desk or maybe one cabin or maybe one room, whereas I have entire home at while working at home. So actually space is not a constraint. So we have to be actually become very sensitive in terms of totality, that we don't have to keep on adding, but we have to see that how we can make multiple use. I mean, in-house, 50% or more than 50% of the spaces goes to just bedroom where you go and sleep. So if you're working from home, you have wonderful bedrooms, you redesign in a way that one Monday I can use my parents' bedroom, or Tuesday I can use my master bedroom, or I can use my kids. So you have so much of flexibility. You can be lay down your bed and work upon. See, you don't have to be, you are very casual in your attire, you are in your pajama and you can work, because Zoom meeting will happen for a few hours, but most of the time you will be working with your own creativity. You can sit in balcony with your laptop, have a cup of coffee, and you can work wonderfully. So I wouldn't say that we have to add any more space, not necessary. It's here extra luxury people can afford, but at the moment we already have so much of luxury that I have choices to sit in my sofa. I can go, and this is work from home. People understand, so it's okay. Let kids shout. No, what is wrong? You're working and your children are looking at you. So wonderful, they will learn from that. So that's okay. When the meetings are important, everybody understands. At the moment, my home, I have just shut down the slider doors. People have become very quiet because they know dad is going to be on live. So that's where it should be. So we really don't have to worry, especially in India, because we are a little bit informal compared to, let's say, Pallavi working in Dubai, where you require a certain discipline. In our office, we sit down on the floor and do the meetings. And most of the clients, the most elite clients, they say, "Hum aapke wo floor wale meeting room mein hi baithenge." So see, you bring that casual approach, and unless, and I mean, you are good at the design, and in your result of sincerity to work doesn't matter. So I think it's a good idea not to add more, but try to make some flexible arrangement within a house. We already have luxury. We will experience, as Bobby said, that this is we are understanding. Over the time we will understand about, and then maybe future, maybe a year or after that, slowly we'll start adding and thinking of adding the space for working, which is obviously is a extra space and luxury for that. But at the moment we have very good space to everyone to work from home.
Thank you so much, Hiren, for adding a different perspective. So what I took out from this, what Hiren has said, is about planning of the home space, like he talked about how much we're, kind of how much space we have in a bedroom, but then that much space may not be required, and the kind of freedom that we have around the house, it's okay to work in that kind of an environment and get adjusted to, because that's probably the new normal. I would like to show a video. Hiren is a good friend, so it was a personal sharing that he had done with me. Shared a personal thing. Okay, and I'm taking the liberty to make it public. So, Hiren, with your due permission, I am sharing a screen with some of the photos of his home, what he does, let's see, during lockdown. So, Hiren, I would like to know, how it seems that you are really enjoying the lockdown period. So, how is work happening when you're allowing each and everything to happen at one place? Like many of us need sort of concentration, sort of an area where we can be more focused. So, how is it happening with you?
For me, this lockdown has really become like a blessings, because obviously being a designer, you can actually work virtually with your computer, with your team, and all design part, apart from the site work, designing has been happening quite nicely within us, with more time, with more flexibility, less number of calls from the client, and we are able to actually recreate the, you can really work nicely on the things. For
Okay,
me,
so we'll come back.
Yeah, for me, it was like a hobby of painting and yoga. So I started combining everything together. Luckily, we have a nice veranda, and that's you saw some of the picture. So I have been doing painting, yoga, and working together. That's the beauty of working from home.
Thank you so much. Thank you. With this, I'm moving to Nisha, and I would like to know, how has the definition of home changed for you, Nisha?
Vertica, I'm also a columnist and a writer. So I've always been very focused on a home space. A lot of my assistants come here, we sit, we brainstorm. So I have to say that having a nook, or having, if you're privileged, this lot over here is a fairly privileged lot. So all of us have an office at home. But a lot of people outside will have to relook at their spaces at home now and design even just a space or a nook or a private little sanctuary at home where they can, I seem to agree with Bobby, who's a dear friend and I love his work. And also I agree with Pallavi Dean. I think this is not so much about me, myself and I. It's also about the, all the participants here who need to relook at their space. I agree with Pallavi, acoustics need to be looked at, lighting needs to be looked at. And I want to touch upon an important point, Vertica. Self-help has become the new norm, because staff, help, assistants are all going to be at their own spaces. So that brings the fore AI, artificial intelligence, using technology. For instance, I had always had a kind of a mini robo to help clean up at home, because I don't like to impose upon my staff. But currently I have upgraded the robotic technology in my home so that it becomes not only more hygienic, but also more self-reliant. I think people will have to become more self-reliant and stop depending upon, Indians tend to, I'm sure Pallavi is, in a different stratosphere, but in India, we really are very dependent upon the less privileged, and we need to become more self-reliant. Another very important thing is, again, I don't want to just focus on me, myself, and I want to talk about stress and anxiety, which has become a very big malaise. I also write, a column where I'm counseling and helping people in their, contradictions and their inability to cope with the COVID virus. Currently, this is a human emergency. So it's not about my exercise and my yoga and my paintings. It's about the world. I think the coronavirus has proven unequivocally that human beings are connected. There is a super conscious, and in this super conscience, we are all connected to that boy in the ghetto who's dying. You know, one person gets it, we get it. So we are all connected. So compassion, thoughtfulness, mindfulness, heartfulness, to me are very important points to look at. And we have to understand that it's not about you and me. It's about, you know, the stigma that comes with COVID. Why are we stigmatizing COVID? Why are we behaving as if somebody has leprosy or people have, you know, something? Okay, so it is contagious. It is highly communicable, but we have to show compassion. I want the message to go out there that please stop people like untouchable.
That point as well. So with that
very important point. Sorry?
Yeah, Nisha, with this important point that you have raised, I would we have a wonderful artist with us today, Shovana ji. So as a social leader and influencer, Shovana ji, I would like to know from you. I would like to get the artist point of view, you know, and how you are seeing that COVID has brought in the changes in lifestyle, or should bring in the changes in lifestyle of people. So Shovana ji, over to you.
Well, as far as the artist community is concerned, I think we have risen to the challenge very well. I would talk about everyone because we are always performing. So we are always moving and performing. But yet now we are in one place. And so as far as the individual practices are concerned, all artists are practicing at home. That's not a problem. But it is the question of the outer reach. The outer reach, I think artists have been fabulously, you know, sort of flexible in adapting to new ways of technology. Not many of us were familiar with online things of teaching and etc. And even offering it to people through our little home video performances. So which everyone is doing it. But at the same time, what it has really brought up also to the fore, this entire COVID business, is that some, you know, you can categorize very well placed artists, little less, and then there are a large number, certainly not well placed at all, like some of our supporting musicians and others. And therefore, the kind of problems that they are going through, and what is beautiful, that everyone, each one of us in the community, we have all reached out. We have writing, we are mobilizing opinion to draw attention that there is this large sector of self-employed workers where, I mean, we are there for the fest when everything has to be, you know, sort of, etc. and celebrate. But then what about their personal lives? So some of them don't have money to pay their rent and nothing. But the artist community have all got together, and which is the most beautiful part of humanity and concern, which some of my co-panelists were talking about, is that they have come forward and we are all reached out and helping each other, drawing up criteria even for mobilizing efforts, you know, help from support from elsewhere. And that is how COVID-19 has brought to the fore certain issues. It has brought to the fore inner positivity of the artist community in dealing with the situation, going through this entire ride. We were well aware of the fact that a performance, I mean, to come back to it is going, the whole process has been derailed almost a year now. Many of us get our earnings back, and people are aware of that. And yet, how we are dealing with it, I think with that positivity, you'll see a smile on every artist's face. Nobody's cribbing, but yet they are undergoing all this. So I think the artists have risen to it beautifully. Another thing, most of you are architects over here. I find that y'all were talking about spaces and designing. I also find Everybody's, nobody has the luxury of space, and certainly not the artists, might be one or two. I'm talking particularly of classical artists and others, minus one or two. But they are, within this, home studios have been created. And what has been the nightmare of most artists is that we artists have mirrors everywhere. And that is certainly not camera friendly. So, and then find space, to create a niche. But yet everybody's risen to the occasion, the challenge, online. As far as is concerned, it is exactness. We need exact. We can have time lag. And imagine we are performing. I'm giving a beat over here, and the others by students. It reaches them to later, and so it is quite frustrating. But we've all got used to it. We know how to get over that situation.
Thank you, Shovana ji. Thank you for adding on that perspective. Thank you, Shovana ji, for adding on that perspective. Shovana ji, I'm not able to hear you at all. So what Shovana ji has added with her, perspective is a very positive note that people are sensitive to others' needs, and artists have risen to this cause. That's a very beautiful thing. And at the same time, she has addressed the architects and designers, saying that, see, our home studios are mostly, filled with mirrors everywhere, because dance and everything, mirrors are so much connected to that. And right now, the problem that artists and the home studios of artists are facing is that mirrors and everything around is not camera friendly. So maybe this will need some design solutions. So now going ahead with the other guest that we have with us, Manojji from ONGC. So I'm going to Manojji, and before I go to Manojji, I would like to share a screen with some of his home photos, which was a personal sharing with me. I'm just sharing them with you as well. They live in Dehradun. Manoj has lived in several places and have got the taste of life of different kinds. 10 years back, he has designed a beautiful home for himself and his wife in Dehradun. His children are in Paris, both of them. So Manojji, I would like to know from you. He's a very satisfied, home owner, and a great, good architect has designed his home 10 years back. So while talking to Manojji and many like him, I feel that a lot more on the other side are now craving to live a life like that in a city far away, less polluted, and the needs of a home, of a second home, might have come to the mind of a lot of home owners, home buyers. So Manojji, I would like to know from you, if you had not created a home 10 years back, which is future ready, what would have been your level of satisfaction at this time of COVID? I hope I am audible.
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we all can.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll see how I can address your query. You see, it's like this. I belong to a service background, and so did my father and father-in-law. So having joined ONGC, we went to Assam and then Gujarat and Dehradun, Mumbai, Delhi, and things like that. But you see, when you look back 10 years back, you had some aspirations at that point of time with a house. So you would say that after 10 years, we want a house where my kids and their families can come and stay with us. So you need 2 additional rooms. You would say that I was a deputy general manager then, so your desire is to become a general manager, although I've gone beyond that and become executive director. So you would say that after 10 years, I'll become a general manager. I want a party kind of a terrace where people can come and we can enjoy life. I'm an avid golfer, so one of the reasons to settle down in Dehradun is that there is a beautiful golf course There is a tennis court. So we have a community life. Looking back 10 years, you see, I'm from the hills and I always love hills. My desire would be to go to the hills actually, which if I had chosen, we have an ancestral house in near Lansdowne. If we had chosen that place to settle down, probably it would have been still better because, the spread of COVID is not much there. So I think your query is that if we had to design something 10 years back and if we look up now, what would we do? So basically, we are quite satisfied with what we did because we projected 10 years and whatever we had in mind, it has been fulfilled. The house is quite spacious, as you can see. It did not have any effect on us as far as lockdown is concerned because we can still take walk. We can go to the roof. We can go to the terrace. The rooms are very spacious. Right behind the veranda that you showed, this is my drawing room, which is very spacious. It's right behind the veranda. And then behind this, you can see the partition. There is a dining area. I can show you maybe. So this is the dining area. And can you see?
Yeah, yes.
All right.
Yes.
So there is a staircase going up from there. And there is a terrace. Behind we have two bedrooms. One, my study, and upstairs we have a lobby. We have a big terrace where we can hold party. We have another portion. So essentially we have 4 bedrooms. We have a study. We have 2 lobbies. We have a lawn. We have, backyard. There's a lot of greenery. There is a dog. So, and right now we are just 2 of us. Both the kids are abroad. So essentially, I think we have fulfilled our aspirations as far as house is concerned. It's sufficient for both of us. It gives us a lot of space, and still after the lockdown, when the kids come, there isn't enough space for all of them as well. And they studied here. They look back. They always want to come back to Dehradun, go to the hills, go to Mussoorie. There are beautiful, picturesque locale very close by. And I would invite all of you to come and witness the city and the glamour and the serenity that the cities provide, that the hills provide you.
Thank you so much, Manojji. Thank you for giving that insight, of how thoughtful designing of home usually leads to a very satisfactory lifestyle. So with this kind of insights that we have got from people who are on the other side of receiving the services by architects and designers, I would now go on a fast pace and a very interactive pace, and I would like to go ahead with some of the questions related to the experts in the industry about high-end residences. So I will start with how the definition of luxury is changing, and I would like to start with architect Bobby Mukherji. So do you think, architect Mukherji, that the definition of luxury has really changed after COVID started?
It will, yes, I guess, in a very, very big way. The way we going to be living from now on is going to change if this is going to be here for long. People with money who can afford another lifestyle, you can already see that, there's a big mass exodus from the big cities, where people do not feel safe. It's become like hostile territory. So if you have the means to have another home, in a more cleaner, more spacious environment, people will be heading towards that. Idea is that they should not be too far away from their main working space, which might be a big city. So within 1.5 hours, if you can land up in another living environment, that would be appreciated. It's already been seen in many developed countries. People have been working this way since years together. We in fact have live projects where there have been houses that are made, on the outskirts of Bombay, for example, in place called Khandala, Lonavala, also in Ambi Valley. There are numerous people who live there permanently. They come into the city only as and when required. They've been able to do their kind of work from there. Now, that time, their nature of work was they were into stocks, investing in stocks, or they're running a company where the son has taken over now, so he does not need to go to the office that often. So they were utilizing these second homes to the fullest. And we made another large weekend condominium complex on the outskirts of Bombay in Mud Island for the Rahejas. It's called Raheja Exotica. We had designed that entire environment with a resort-like development meant for only weekend use. But after 15 years, when you actually see the statistics, you realize that 30% of these apartments and villas are permanently occupied. People have moved in there for good. They have houses in the cities, but they prefer being here. They're overlooking the ocean, clean air. They are writers, poets, script writers. There are a few people I know of. I'm sure there are several other businesses too that are being conducted from homes. So with this whammy that we got because of this COVID, and we are forced to work from home and using other technologies to work, we realize that it's not that bad. And we have been able to achieve a lot of work sitting from home, which we never ever thought of. Especially for people who work in offices, they can very well. It's different for manufacturing. You cannot replace, factory production from home, but the management or people who do not need to go to factories, they can very well work from home, as we can see. So more and more people, depending on their money power, will opt for another lifestyle, a better lifestyle, bigger space. A 2,000 square feet apartment in Bombay will allow you a massive, estate on the outskirts of Bombay. So, people are if you look at Delhi, people will have the option of taking the Agra, the Noida-Agra expressway. It's a nice clean road. Within 1 hour, take some development there. I think that's where the new real estate developers might be heading towards creating these completely self-built, self-sufficient, second homes. And for all it might become the first home. You go to the Bay Area and San Francisco, there's so many people who live outside the city and they drive down into the city often, or they work from homes. These people in the techie industry. So more and more, this is going to become the new norm and the way we live. Everyone's going to be questioning, knowing that every time you step out and you go to a grocery store or you walk on the streets, you live with the fear of getting infected, that fear is going to drive a lot of people out of the city. There is going to be an exodus for sure.
So thank you so much for this. And what I understand from the entire, sharing that you have done, that location, people used to select, homes and offices as per location because it will have the people for people to come in, meet and all that. So it seems that somewhere the location thing is kind of fading away, and people would like to select areas where they can work remotely and select as per their lifestyle that they decide to live. And why second homes? These might become very much the first homes and very much enjoyable for them to live and work together, right? So with this, with the same question, I would like to go, to the other panelists, and feel free to just raise your hand and tell me if you would like to share anything on this thing, on the changing definition of luxury related to high-end residences. Yes, Pallavi.
Okay, first of all, I just want to touch on what Nisha said, right? The problem is with high density accommodation in the low income group. Hashtag first world problem. We can talk about luxury accommodation. None of my Forbes list billionaire clients have called me and said, oh, Pallavi, what should I do post-COVID? No, I've had construction companies call me and say, what can I do about shared accommodation? So I think it's really important, first of all, to put that in perspective, right? That's where the problem really is. And as designers, I feel that's what we should be addressing. The other thing is, I think in the 70s, there was this program on British television called Upstairs, Downstairs. And all the staff lived downstairs, all the privileged people live upstairs. But I think on a broader level now, we need to think about flow through the space, right? Entry and exit, because like Nisha said, like many others said, we are reliant on staff. So we have to think about how we bring them into our houses and how they exit the house as well. Another thing that I would like to say is that rule of thumb, we've always said, spend a third of your income on your home. But I think that's going to change now. I think it's going to be spent 45% of your income on home, right? And if you can't afford a second home, a remote home, as Bobby says, which is excellent, then maybe it's about small things. Bring biophilia into your home, have planting, have little natural fibers, that kind of stuff. So I think we also need to address realistic problems and solutions for all income groups, not just kind of the privileged, like I think some of us are.
Yes, Shovana ji.
I would like to just make showing. First of all, this luxury living outside and getting it with a to classical dancer, because we all need to be absolutely accessible.
Shovana ji, we are not able to. Shovana ji, we're not able to hear you. Pallavi, can you hear her? No,
no. I said,
no,
can you hear me now?
Not very clear.
I'm speaking.
Yes, please say something right now. We are not able to hear Shovana ji. So, Architect Hiren Patel, would you like to add something on the aspect of luxury? And Nisha, if you'd like to add something on the aspect of luxury.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
please.
I agree with Bobby that going away from the city, going away from the crowd and work, that is going to happen. That has opened up the mind. And there are kind of, I would say, courageous people will take that as a, I mean, youngster will also, I mean, we have seen in Europe that many people live in the small town, commute by the beautiful train system they have. And they work from that small town, and if needed once in a week, they just go to the metro city where they have to be there. So this kind of system will eventually happen in India also. I have seen luckily why people stay to the cities and metro is for two reasons. One is a better education for the children, and second is healthcare. So if let's say the systems develop, if good people move towards a small town, eventually good education system will happen. I have seen beautiful towns, especially in Gujarat, where they have in fact good schools. For example, let's say Dehradun would have wonderful schools, so people will not mind to stay in Dehradun and work for it. So it's this is going to be new trend even in the youngster, that rather than rushing towards a big city, they would prefer to go, and which is a good idea to them. That you stay in a nice place, nice community, like-minded people, beautiful environment, work there, and is needed for a, let's say, kind of a social life, or to just go to the cities to enjoy for. So this is a new kind of trend I can see may happen to India as well, which is quite popular in Europe.
So in terms of luxury, what kind of changes within the home do you see?
Yeah, mainly the people will be conscious about the hygiene, especially the high-end houses would require a little care about because they depend on the caretakers, and then they will look for the kind of, especially what I see that we make very beautiful big villas in Ahemdabad, and with lots of greenery. I mean, that's how we design. That the landscape is very important, and for any group of the people, if we are near to the nature, nothing like it. So that's how, especially when we design, we first design of landscaping and enter to the architecture or interior. That's how we work as a totality. And such houses and villa has a n number of people, so you have lots of caretakers rooms for there. Now people will become conscious. As a designers, we try to design as beautiful and more functional and more hygienic spaces for even the people who are working for the house. Now, even from the owner side, that demand will come. So that was needed long time ago. When we were designing the houses, we would discuss hours and hours together about the home theaters and everything, but nobody would really talk about the servant quarters, how beautiful they have to, what are their entertainment spaces. So now that will become very important in terms of client side as well. And I think the service and utility will be the major change will happen for and which people can afford. So it's a good sensitive new thinking will come.
Thank you so much. Nisha, would you like to add something to it, or anyone else?
I wanted to say that
in terms of luxury, how are the homes going to change? Is the definition of luxury going to change, and how it is going to change?
I think luxury is going to become even more important. It doesn't matter about what your spending power is. Whatever a person's spending power is, they're going to invest more in their homes. Like Hiren Patel said, there will be home theaters now. Like Pallavi said, there's going to be a lot of focus on exits. As far as I can see, the trend, the retail trend that we see right now is that people are spending much more, whereas we expected the spends to go down. In fact, it's the opposite, because that acquiring of things on social, platforms on the internet, on e-com has increased because people feel a certain sense of succor when they are buying and acquiring. Also, it's become important, Vertica, to create private spaces at home. So with 4 people in a family or 6 people in a family, privacy has become a big thing. So, people are wanting to create, my clients are reaching out to ask, how can they create space for themselves? Because you don't want to be interacting, how much ever you may love your people, you want that sense of space to do your own thing. So I had noticed a trend around a year and a half ago where builders had started creating 2 master bedrooms to avoid strife between partners and spouses. So that had been a trend 2 years ago. Now what COVID has done is it's creating a greater need for privacy. And then I want to just touch upon color. With the rising stress and the rising anxiety syndrome, which has become a malaise right now, color has become much more muted and more sedate, because people are not wanting excitable interiors. They want that sense of, the inside is so anxious about what's going to happen to us tomorrow. So these are some things I've noticed very avidly in terms of changing scenes in interior design and in architecture.
Thank you, Nisha, for this elaborate, detailed explanation. And now I would branch out from this particular question. I'll branch out.
Can I make a point, Vertica?
Yes, please do. Please do. Manojji.
I have a slightly different take on whatever, the learned architects have spoken. I'm speaking from experience. I think I'm older than all of you. Or so, when we built the house, as I said, we looked 10 years hence. At that point of time in 2008 or 9. Even today, do not think from the perspective of COVID as of now. This is going to go. So whatever you are designing, you are not designing for now, you are designing for future. So we are going to conquer this COVID in about a year's time, maybe maximum 2 years' time. I think human beings are progressive. Human beings always go forward. So you do not have to design your homes for this time. You have to design it for future. And the future is somewhere else. The future is not disease. The future is not the virus. Future is good life. Future is, when you are moving around freely. We will be developing vaccines. We will be developing immunity. We are going to conquer this. So life is going to settle down. People will indeed have second homes, and the youngsters are moving to hills and things like that. We will have greater connectivity. But do not think from the perspective of current times. Think of the perspective of future. And the future is going to be bright. The future is, you don't have to sit at home in future. You will need to go out. So maybe you can have a home there, but the homes do not have to be designed for COVID. Homes have to be designed for pleasure, for spending better time. But you will be going out. You will be going. The life will come back to normal in some time. So that's my take.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your take.
Vertica. One thing, taking cue from what Manojji had to say, which is going to become important, is that people who are senior, right? They have sort of freaked out by what's happened. They are nervous. They're really nervous about going out. They want to keep themselves insulated. So now what's going to happen is, because of the trauma that people went through now, the concept of senior living is going to take even more importance now, where people who might not be in that age bracket now, but they, as Manojji said, that you have to plan for the future, so they quality homes, outside, like in the hills, for example, where he's from in Dehradun. There's a fantastic development for senior living. It's called Antara, and it's a super success. It's on the road going to Missouri, and it's very scenic. And more of such places will be coming up. It's a super success. A lot of affluent people from Delhi have bought it all out, and it has scope for so much more. More and more, I see this happening, because once you're there, you feel you're in a resort environment. There's enough entertainment. There's all this permanent healthcare staff available. It's extremely hygienic. Their food is controlled. They have a group of friends who've bought the villas together. So they and a place like Dehradun, which has got such amazing connection now, flight connection with all the big cities in India, it becomes one of the most attractive places to go and retire in. People retire at the age of 65 and they live up to the age of 85. They still have 30 years to lead a quality life, So
you think, like, those kind of developments are really going to be very much sought after by people who can, those places are going to take care of hygiene, healthcare, and the kind of the community that they can connect with. So that's very important for people probably to be there.
I would also like to say that this is all what is being discussed is okay for a section of society, which is a very thin layer. But what about the greater masses of people who cannot afford it? How much are we thinking about them, who don't have the space, who don't, and yet they have to live somewhere? So what kind of a construction are we thinking of? What kind of a lifestyle are we thinking of them? So I think we have to also move out of our little, because all of us are sort of well placed on this panel. But we have to go beyond, because this is a very thin layer. It is not representative of entire India.
Yeah. Shovana ji, I must inform you at this point of time that since this is on high-end residences, we are also coming up with webinars related to affordable housing and the materials products designed for affordable housing very soon, and I'll let you know about that. So with this, I'm moving to the next question. And yes, so what are
I would like to say something in this regard.
Please.
It is my observation that a lot of companies are coming up with work at home schemes and everything, so that their employees and people like me, for example, can work from home rather than coming to the office. So it is a very good thing that we should not prepare according to we should not prepare the houses according to the COVID and everything. But now it might become a necessity for all homes to have a working space, because a lot of corporates are not willing to have those many people in the office as a basic precaution, and that might be for a long term.
So what Tushar you mean
and what Tushar is saying makes sense, because even being an employee, okay, probably one of the questions in the next round of interviews would be that how is your home set up in terms of working from home? Someone is more attractive to be employed if he has that setup, if he has, the right hardware, high-speed connection, a good working environment. He becomes more attractive. So this is something that's new, which is going to affect these homes.
Right. So with this, I would like to move to Architect Patel, and I would like to ask this question about what are the materials and products and applications which people would see more in the homes if COVID persists and people have to do the renovations and interior designing of their homes. So are there some kind of new materials, products, building materials that we are going to see which you have not seen ever? Is there any kind of thing like materials from any other sector will come more to homes? How are the homes going to look and feel if COVID persists and people need to redesign? Yes, Architect Patel.
Yeah. I think everybody will become more conscious in terms of a hygiene point of view. If you just go to any kind of house, from the 1 BHK apartment to 2 BHK to the private villa, and we will look for the spaces which is easy to maintain, easy to clean up. So for example, like, people will go to the, let's say, hard surface and use lot more small size of daris into the house rather than floor to floor carpet, because people may think that it will be difficult to maintain the carpet if you have floor to floor, and especially in kind of the weather and the surrounding which is a little dusty. They would prefer such kind of minor changes. But I don't say that doesn't mean that floor-to-floor carpet cannot work. I'm sure the carpet people will also work on that, because floor-to-floor carpet also has some advantages in terms of the noise pollution and acoustics and kind of things. So they will also come up with some innovative things. So every product designer will be working in terms of making their product easy in terms of maintenance, having better life, and free from the germs kind of thing. So that's where I would say that everybody will be looking forward that, and as such a new material may arrive which is more in terms of perfect in terms of the clean surface and kind of thing. So that's what I feel. Yeah.
So what Architect Patel has added is about hygiene. So maybe the surfaces that we use, the floors that we use might be something we kind of prefer more, which do not collect dust, which are easy to maintain. So Pallavi, Nisha, would you like to add something to it? And Architect Mukherji,
say something important. I want to say something to Manoj and Tushar, that the pandemic is not a 2-year scenario. I want us to be positive. I want us to be hopeful. But the world is looking at a new set of ideals in terms of space and interiors and architecture. Obama had predicted the pandemic nearly 2 years ago. What the world of medicine is saying is that we have to create a resilience and a sense of agility in terms of preparedness. So what has happened by COVID-19 is that our whole outlook to design, which Pallavi and Bobby had mentioned, our whole outlook has to go through a metamorphosis wherein we look at design long term. Like you said, Manoj, we look at it long term, and we look at it with a positive attitude, but we definitely plan ahead for any such malaise, because this calamity should have created a degree of preparedness.
Okay, Nisha?
The pandemics don't happen just like that. They happen once in 100 years, and this is unprecedented. I mean, my generation, my father's generation, have never seen anything like this. So my take is that this is one of a kind, which has happened now. It's not going to happen for next 100 years. And once we win it, let's look more positively towards how we are going to lead life.
I agree. The preparedness
I'll try to sum up this one and move ahead. So what I understood is, yes, while we all are positive about, and we all want to hope that everything happens, in a good way, and it gets normal, and we are, this disruption should get into a positive mode. At the same time, we should also be prepared, and we should work towards those directions that if anything prolongs, then the design community should be ready with some kind of solutions for a lot of things in case of need. So with this, I would like to move to Pallavi. And Pallavi, I would like to know from you, like you are from Dubai, and you are doing a lot of projects, of interior projects and all that. Has there some kind of a change that you have seen in terms of the choice of materials or products that you have been thinking lately, while addressing to designing at this times?
So in the UAE, construction has been considered an essential sector. So we never stopped working. We were going to site. I've been on site since March, it hasn't stopped. But we've put in a lot of precautions in place. And thinking back now, I think this should just be the norm. So on a spa project that we're currently working on, I'll give you an example. We've relooked at all the MEP, like the HEPA filtration system, which is super expensive, was kind of like, let's value engineer this. Now it's like, no, we're not value engineering it. It's a given, it has to be there. The antimicrobial paints that we were using, they were like kind of like a good to have, but it's not a good to have anymore. It is a must have. The flooring in the spa is a textured vinyl floor. Again, yes, that's a thumbs up. It's not a porous material, like, Hiren touched upon this. We're getting away from those porous or, tactile materials and going towards synthetic stones, more hard surfaces that are durable and easily cleanable as well. And I think, like, just touching upon what Manoj and Nisha both mentioned, we had the Spanish flu, right? And modernism and the minimal lines that came through modernism was a response to the Spanish flu, because we dropped ornamentation. We said, hang on, this is where kind of the dirt and the dust and all of these germs collect. So let's move away from this. And it's so spot on what Nisha said. It's not going away. Okay, this might go away, something else might come. We've had SARS, we've had MERS. So I think when we think about luxury interiors, it has to be long-term solutions, filtration systems, air purification, decompression zones in your own home. And points like this that have longevity, that we're not just talking the short term, let's put a mask on. Vertica, you're muted, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Pallavi. And with this, I would like to ask if anyone else would like to, Architect Bobby, would you like to add something to it? Yes.
In terms of building materials, with the short supply of construction workers now, many of them got very, very conscious about it. Labor costs are going to be going up, at least for some time, till we find a solution to this issue. The materials, the building materials that require least amount of labor, in terms of man hours, is going to become attractive. We want, flooring to be done in half a day, finishing materials, so they're quick fix solutions. They're like the way it is in the West. For example, in Dubai, the time taken for construction is perhaps 1/3 or 1/4 that of India. They are that efficient. They are following the best practices from the US and Europe, and they are able to produce projects in a very, very short amount of time. So along with that comes planning, and along with the planning is choosing the right materials. That's going to be, allowing construction process to move in a much fast-paced way than a regular. In India, people use marbles with the joints. They'll call someone to polish it, cut it by hand, and it takes months and weeks and years to finish a project. Here, everything's going to come pre-cut, tiles which are pre-sized, easy to fix, whether it's a engineered wooden flooring or a laminate wooden flooring. The doors and windows will all tend to get modular. These are normal trends in the developed world. It's going to become more common now, because for a developer, he has to finish the project in a limited amount of time, in a limited amount of cost. So the one way to bring in efficiency in his system is to use the right technology in terms of materials and systems.
Sorry, can I ask one more thing? I have a point to make, that with increase in the work from home phenomenon which is happening right now, see, we should rely on artificial intelligence and everything and all that, and we should decrease the reliance on people and on humans. That would not be a very good scenario in the long term, because people will lose their jobs and people will become redundant in their would not end up with any sort of job or anything. So I just wanted to ask that how can we create an ecosystem so that people can work from home, because there are a lot of people who can't work on internet, for example, work on internet from their homes and everything.
Okay.
And
what I'll do, Tushar, is I will just rephrase this question and put it. I'm coming back to this one, but before that, on products and materials, I would also like to hear from anyone else over here. I think Nisha, you have already shared, and you have also shared about the aspect of stress, mental health, the impact of color and all that. So, okay, let me move to what Tushar has asked, and let me rephrase it with the kind of the panel and the topic that we have. So, people are fearful about letting people in from outsiders, while at the same time interior designing, renovations, and all this work need people to be on site. So how is the off-site, on-site work going to happen? How are things going to change so that this can enable those kind of designings and all this happen, but at the same time, list of physical interaction, list of the botheration to the owners and people living inside the home. So what are the kind of new things that we are going to see in terms of on-site applications? So whoever would like to start with.
I think there'll be much more modular design. There'll be much more prefabricated product design. Product design is going to become very important because, like Bobby said, on the site, production is going to become even less intensive, less labor interaction in terms of interiors. We'd already begun to see an influx of prefabricated furniture and modular units. So earlier you had modular kitchens and modular offices, and to some extent living spaces. But I'm beginning to see a huge desire for home working spaces intertwined with multitasking. The same den becomes an office, becomes an entertainment space for people like Tushar and me who love watching movies. So I feel it's all going to become about upgrading your sense of home. The focus is going to shift from buying luxury products for the self to create a space which is more forgiving and more giving.
Okay. Yes, Architect Mukherji.
In terms for the new projects by the real estate developers, I think what was not done earlier is that people would prefer to have a house ready to move in as much as possible. When it comes to loose furniture, they'll probably order it online or go to a store and pick it up. But the rest of the stuff that that goes into making a home your project would be more attractive if it's already built in, where there's least amount of customization happening, or the real estate developer themselves are giving you all the things that you require and you need. Making space for a gym, that this workspace, entertainment, and the new luxury is about, I think, more than building materials and finishing with high-end stuff. It's about space. It's about volume, about having several activities in the house that they used to do earlier outside. For example, going to the gym. Now, what we have seen that people have become so sedentary that they are dying to exercise and they do not have the facilities at home. So that's going to become a new necessity in luxury homes. Space for the household help, that becomes very important, because you want them to not come in from outside. You want them to stay at home like a family member, insulated from the outside world, and the less they go out, the safer you feel with them. So if you give them space, a comfortable space for them, you will end up getting people who are willing to come and stay with you and work for you if you take care of those needs. Those things will also show up in the new large format, luxury homes. So these are things that would show up, I feel, in the new real estate developments that would come up, or the new homes that would be made.
Architect Patel, would you like to add something on that? Yes, please.
Yeah, I have a little different perspective. I mean, we are from the country with a wonderful heritage. We have so many artisans, and they are excellent. I mean, we have the beauty of doing every kind of piece of furniture by handcrafting. And why are we talking of manufacturing and mass production? So we have to see in totality. We are the country of so many people so many artisans, and they are wonderful things. We as a designers, it's our duty and our responsibility to take care of these people. I mean, we have to find a system. Yes, now the karigar from the Agra won't come for inlay at my home because my client will say no, that I don't want people. So we have to find a way. We cannot neglect this kind of people because they are the genius and they are so good at their work. We designers have to think another system to do that. We have to encourage this small kind of craftsmen to work from their hometown. That is the
right.
I mean, they can work from Jaipur, create a beautiful marble top for our things and find the system. There is some in-between traders can do the things. So we don't have to go to ready-made thing, everything, but we are blessed to have such a wonderful people. You can have something wonderful work from the Assam, from bamboo, and you can have blackstone work from the, let's say, Chennai. And we are, I mean, in the specifically, we are on the topic of luxury. That's why I'm thinking that people here, you can afford to have them. And we should rather encourage our artisans. We cannot neglect. It is our own responsibility to support them. And I think if we start thinking in that aspect, we have so much wisdom of our own heritage. We have been talking of the hygienic floor. Just try to imagine our village houses. They used to cow dung, and it was so wonderful. So we have lots of wisdom in modernity. Somehow we have just gone too much on all these things. And we have this reopening of our mind to think that as well. That is equally important. And being working for a high-end houses, you have little liberty to do that. Even if it may become expensive, your client will agree, and you can support this system to stay our heritage alive.
Absolutely. So taking everything along, actually.
Vertica, if you allow me a moment.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I'm possibly the only non-technical man amongst all the architects and all. You see, you heard me probably in one of the sessions where I spoke about revisiting the purpose of a business enterprise, and that's where you got my connection and things like that. See, the greatest lesson we learned from these times, which must remain in our mind, is that we need to think inwards. We need to think that we are the privileged people who have laptops and good homes and things like that. There are several hundred people who are homeless. So my request to all the the learned people, learned architects, is that let's not talk of luxury for ourselves only. I mean, let's set apart. Let's try to maybe produce material which is cost effective, which can get me a home at a very competitive price. But I would like to set apart a portion of my money or my earnings for the people who are poor. Because see, for instance, I have decided this month for myself, besides giving money from my salary to Prime Minister's Fund and all, I had decided that from this month's take home, I will give 50% of my salary for charitable purposes. That's my personal take. And several of my friends have also done the same thing. So my take is that let's go for products or material which is cost effective, which is less in price, which can give me a home. But let's not talk of luxury for ourselves. Let's talk of the humankind as such. These are the times when we realize that we must support all the people, several hundred thousand homeless people. If we can think about their homes at an affordable price, then that will be a great takeaway of the COVID times.
Thank you. Thank you, Manojji, for adding on that insight. So I would like to go to Pallavi.
And I have one more point. Sorry, Vertica, I'm interrupting.
Yeah, please, Tushar.
So I just wanted to ask that is there a way in the future, because everybody is going to talk about sanitization and all these things. So how can we put in some things in place so that we can maintain, we can do sanitization of our things and everything? If we can design some things like that so that it's much easier for me rather than doing it on my own. Maybe we can design some products so that sanitization of things can happen inside a house.
Okay, easy sanitization can happen, and you are asking the product people if they can design something with which easy sanitization of homes is possible, right, Tushar?
So Vertica,
yes, that is exactly my point.
Tushar, yeah. They've already started designing air conditioners which are antiviral and antibacterial, and air purifiers have become very big currently. So you're absolutely bang on. sanitization, especially in the bathrooms and toilets. Separate cubicles have become the need of the hour. You're absolutely right. More and more products are being patented and coming forward in terms of dealing with the current situation. And like Pallavi said, preparedness for the future, and what I said much earlier. But I also want to add to Hiren's point. Hiren, I think, I've written 2 books on saving Indian indigenous crafts. And I really must say that you're absolutely 100% right. But what Bobby and I were actually talking about was ordering these things from people outside, as opposed to creating them within the space. The only point that Bobby and I were stressing upon is, customization within an interior is going to become next to very, very difficult and very dangerous, at least until 2021. That was my humble submission.
Pallavi, what is your opinion?
I think everyone's touched upon everything of relevance here, right? I think, again, the definition of luxury for all of us is so different. For me, the ultimate luxury is health, staying with my family. That for me is just luxury in itself. And, I'm happy with that. And each of us has a different way. Of course, like Manoj said, we as architects and designers, we're problem solvers, right? If it's not this, it's something else. We'll come up with ingenious solutions, creative solutions to solve this.
Okay, so Pallavi, I would like to know one more thing, like if you can add on to that point, what was my last question is about how is work, happening within the sites? How is work going to happen within the sites when people are fearful about letting people in with a lot of, how is it going to be less labor intensive? How are the things going to happen?
So, in our homes, it's different to sites like the hotels that I'm working on. But look, rapid testing is coming out, right? So I think that's going to be a big win for us. There's going to be rapid testing and we're going to go back to normal pretty soon. I think it's already happening in Dubai. We've got field hospitals set up. We've got field testing centers set up. On our sites, like for our big hotel projects and our spa projects, we've got 40% of our staff there. We are safe spacing. We're going in and being respectful of that. And I think, work can't stop. And for us, we've been very fortunate it hasn't. Yes, my supply chain from India has really stopped, which is a shame because we really rely on those karigars and all those things that you've talked about for projects here as well. So I think that's going to, once you guys come back online, that's going to help us as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else would like to add anything? Because I'm going ahead with the last question of this.
No, one sec, Vertica. No, yes. Hiren Bhai was right. What I was trying to say, Hiren Bhai, is that, these, for example, many of our sites, we depend a lot on Rajasthani karigars, craftsmen, they've all disappeared. If they have to make a living, they're wonderful at this, one of the last existing group of craftsmen in India that are still pursuing this. Rest of them, all their children have become IT engineers and looking for white collar jobs. No one wants to do this. Now this was the last bastion left, and even if we do not take care of them, it's sad news. We'll have to import people to work and in our country. We have to call people from Philippines or Cambodia or something to work for us. So we should protect them. So hence, having them to do what they're doing in their own villages, where they come from that Jodhpur or Bikaner area, they should be allowed to do what they're doing. And you buy it online, or you order the stuff, like your marble inlay work from Agra can come to you. So your basic shell of your house should be kept ready. And then rest of these decorations and stuff can come in from outside. That's the most efficient way of creating or buying a home now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what you meant to say that, yes. So what I'm saying is some elite people or somebody educated people has to come with the kind of ecosystem where they get the work from the craftsman and get it. So it's a micro level, a small industries should develop in India, and that would be wonderful because then you can protect your artisan, you take advantage, you convert into their craftsmanship into the modern design, and we can have something which is, I mean, the same thing can even then the products comes beautiful, even can those products then go from here to the other part of the rest of the world. That's what we should be looking for. and try to support them. Maybe find some vendors or some agency to channelize this kind of thing and get the works without bringing them at site and creating the kind of difficulties. I think one has to find a solution.
Thank you so much, Hiren Patel and Bobby Mukherji, for adding on that. It's also the responsibility of the fraternity and the designers and all of us together to handhold people who are really in need, and they are extremely good in their art. They're extremely good in their passion for design and art, and we can do it from a distance. That's what the designers team has today addressed. And at the same time, how work can happen, a lot of things can happen off-site and then brought in inside, and with a lot of precautions and measures in place, things are possible. That's the kind of the feeling, and that's the kind of the insights that we're getting so far. And it's interesting and very, 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 with a lot of different opinions that we had, has added more value and more made this whole thing more lovely and interactive, and I'm sure a lot more informative than I have ever thought of. So thank you so much. And with the last one-liner for people, because there are a lot of corporates and people who are looking at and watching us live as well as from here, and the fraternity is also going to watch us and is watching us already, and this is also going to be a cover story of Surfaces Reporter. So I would like to know one thing, one advice that you'd like to give to people who are thinking of redoing their homes, redoing their high-end residences or buying a new one. They are thinking of, many of them have told that they are thinking of going to a ready to move residence if it is possible, so that they have a list of the interaction, physical interaction. A lot of things can happen online. So do you think that kind of a contactless interior projects is possible? I'd start with Pallavi and with one-liner, and it's yes or no, and how, and what is your advice to people who are thinking of redesigning and renovating at the moment? Pallavi, I'll start with you, and I'll move to all of you and end. Yes.
Absolutely. Of course, look at us. We're doing a webinar online. Of course, we can do online consultations. It's a great measure for the short term, but nothing can take away that physical interaction and that face-to-face client getting to know briefing system in the long term. So yes, in the short term, done.
Thank you. So moving ahead, Nisha.
Nisha, your microphone.
I want to end by saying that stress and anxiety must be avoided under all circumstances. So creating a home space that is less high maintenance, more easy to handle, less ornamentation, more soothing and more comfortable, because this is where you're going to be for the most part, at least until a long time ahead, until we develop herd immunity. And I also want to say, Vertica, this was beautifully pulled off. Thank you to all the fellow panelists. I've met some beautiful people. And yes, I am coming to Dehradun very soon. Manoj.
Architect Patel.
Welcome, Nisha, welcome.
Architect Patel, I would like to know from you.
Yes, I'm actually dying for going to the site and have a cup of tea with my workers. I think working from a distance is no more fun. Yes, I can be good in terms of design, but taking a small cup of tea with your worker, you cannot beat. You cannot beat the 5-star Starbucks coffee.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, we all are looking for that. Yes, Architect Mukherji, yes.
No, I think all the new projects that will, when it comes to homes, right, when is going to be a completely relook at everything. What we've all been through is has made people realize that they need to live in a different way, and there is a big chance that things like this might keep occurring more often than having that 100-year gap, because as the population is increasing, more and more new diseases are also coming up. Now we see, like earlier there was a MERS virus in Dubai and in the UAE. Then there's the SARS. So it's becoming more and more rampant. Now this one was a real big one. You don't know what to expect. So what we have learned from this are, in terms of running your home, less staff available, hygiene of work from home, health from home, more space, living in a more cleaner and atmosphere with cleaner air. All this is going to take precedence now. People are going to relook at the entire way that, of their existence.
So relooking, people are going to relook at the entire way that they are living and like to live. So with this thought,
so right now, this is just the beginning. It's just people are soaking it in right now. We'll give it some more time. It's just before they all make the conclusions and it becomes a worldwide phenomenon.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Bobby Mukherji. Now moving to Manoj ji, I would like to know your one-liner point.
My one-liner is redesign your thinking rather than your home.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
And if I can expand, I really liked what Pallavi said, that luxury is not spending money. Luxuries maybe health. Luxuries maybe a small nook, somewhere you have a lot of books or a yoga mat. So I would say redesign your thinking. But while redesigning, please think of the people who really need the money. The money and luxury are not really coterminous. They could be independent. So set apart that money for helping out somebody in these times, and I think that will be the greatest takeaway. And thank you to all the panelists and all the listeners. I'm really happy that you gave me the opportunity to speak on a panel which is not my cup of tea.
Thank you so much, Manoj. Thank you. And now moving to Shovana ji.
Well, I would just say that we should have the luxury of a very positive mind and of a very sensitive and caring mind, irrespective of where we are. And let us also take full advantage of the great creativity of our Indian people.
Wonderful, wonderful. And moving to our young enterprising entrepreneur, yes, Tushar.
So my final suggestion to everyone is just be safe and healthy, and we will as a country come out strong of this. From this, and basically it is the responsibility of all corporates to basically maintain social hygiene and well-being, and it is a responsibility of everyone, so that all stakeholders of every business and every corporate do not fall victim to this disease which is upon us right now. And we should look at things positively, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tushar. So with this, I think the corporates and the design fraternity should come together to, take forward the things that you all have spoken about, positivity, helping in people and everything. Why are we doing this thing with a combination of people from different segments? It's because kind of a bridge was required, so that architects are not only talking to architects for their architecture and design community, but there is an exchange of ideas that can happen. So whatever can be done, nothing can be done alone. So bringing in those points, making it a point that yes, we all do things together, we all make sure that our work, our homes and everything get better with the effort of each one of us, and with the preparedness and design thinking and design solutions is very, very important when it comes to design. So certainly the current health crisis is causing many of us to see homes in a new light. As the outside world becomes less touchable, I can see a great desire for materials, textures, appliances, automation, technology, and amenities within our homes to have better life within the safe zone of our homes. And also, yes, it is also a possibility to give a lot of work to those unprivileged people who are very good in their work, but are not able to, get a lot of work because of the COVID. We are the privileged ones, but we need to think about those who are not privileged and need to give them space and all that for, entering our homes, the creative thing.
Yeah, say a warm hug to everyone, and maybe take leave. It's 1:15. I have another webinar.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was nice meeting you, everyone.
Thank you, Hiren.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, everyone.
Love hearing you.
And Nisha, great seeing you after a long time.
Great. Shovana, it's been a pleasure.
Lovely. And when since we are no longer on webinar, when talking of age, I think I'm the senior most of the lot. Even older than Manojji.
You have competition with me.
Shovana, I think the youngest panelist, your joie and your creativity. I think none of us on this panel can dance as spritily and youthfully as you. I've seen you, so I think I can say that you are absolutely an inspiration to all of us, and love you always.
No, it's been great hearing all of you. Great hearing each one of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Manojji.
Bye.
Thank you,
Take care. Good luck.
Thank you.
Safe.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Congratulations.
Bye.